Right, yo, so how the Power 5 ruined 4-star characters in Genshin Impact. Now, obviously, I can tell by the thumbnail which Power 5 he means, which 4 stars he's talking about. It's gonna be Fischl, Benny, Sucrose, Zhang Ling, and Xing Chou. Now, I'm surprised Beidou isn't there. I know Beidou is not used as often as Fischl, but I think like Beidou is a really powerful 4-star as well, right? That's like an OG 4-star that could be considered one of the Power 5 or Power 6, I should say. But basically, this video popped up on my recommendeds, and I'm just like, wow, this is a really, really interesting video. I want to see what he wants to talk about. I really like talking about these topics because these are the topics I was interested in, and I was trying to figure out myself when I first started the game. So it is a cool topic to talk about. And when I see a video like this that pops up, which kind of matches my ideas and ideals, I have to watch it. I have to watch it. Let's have a look.
Genshin Impact may very well have the most intriguing and confounding initial roster out of any gacha game I've ever seen. Generally, the power progression of a gacha's characters has all of its first wave becoming obsolete eventually, replaced by updated or more powerful versions of units as the game's content and mechanics advance in complexity, with balance adjustments being extremely rare in this category.
I'm probably gonna stop a lot, so I do apologize for that, right? Genshin Impact does not have that. However, it's one of those things where when you find some character that is better from a specific element, you will just use him more, or you will use that character just always instead of the previous character that you had. Like main example, Klee being overshadowed by Hu Tao. You will never use Klee if you've got like a Hu Tao or a Yoimiya. If you've got both, then that means your Klee is completely overshadowed. Like she just never gets used, period, right? And I feel like the same goes for like team comps as well, right? You only ever need 2 team comps for Spiral of Abyss. So once there is a team comp that overshadows another team comp that is really universal or really powerful, you will pretty much just completely shelve that team unless there are specific mechanics that makes you force out specific team comps, right? Which is, you know, what Spiral of Abyss has been doing recently. Main example being Raiden National, my Raiden National being completely shelved and overshadowed by Alhaitham Hyperbloom. So I thought Alhaitham Hyperbloom it does more damage than the Raiden one, but I'm not using both of them because some of the characters from that Raiden National roster gets obviously put into my Hyperbloom, i.e. Xing Chou, right? And also I have completely swapped out my Raiden's whole kit, including her weapon, on my Zhang Ling because of how powerful Zhang Ling is and how well she works with like a Kazuha national team, etc. Right?
Of gaming, there comes a time where such units are no longer valuable or even viable.
Chi. She was never viable. Poor soul, man.
To be in the past. In some ways, that law remains in effect.
It's so sad.
I consider the majority of the first 21 characters to have aged all that well as we enter year 4 of Genshin's timeline. Despite the game's less cavalier approach to power creep in contrast to other gacha titles, units released today are definitely of a comparable, if not higher caliber, or at the very least have a more sophisticated design to account for the more modern game, thus making it increasingly more...
Hold on, let me move up my cam, maybe up. I think it would be better if it's like up here, alright? Might be too big, maybe I'll just make it smaller. I do apologize.
Likely for new units to overpower existing ones, or so we think. I'm pretty...
Bro, oh, also you think... Come on, dude. Like, bro, as soon as I move my cam, I'm just in the... Okay, never mind. No matter where I'm going to put my cam, it's going to be annoying. Like, Chi-Chi, like, come on. Like, I tried making Chi-Chi work. I really did. I thought it was a character that was good with Chi-Chi, which was Razor because of super conduct. And, yeah, like, I just thought he could work, right? Because as a physical DPS, it's just tough. It's just tough, you know? Some characters were just made bad. And that's it. I'm sorry. It is what it is.
Pretty sure most of us can agree that version 2, 3, and soon to be 4's 5-star characters vastly outperform most of the ones from version 2, with obvious exceptions of course. But surprisingly, the inverse is more so the case for 4-star units, and it all goes back to what I will unofficially be dubbing the Power 5. Bennett, Shanling, Fischl, Xing Chou, and Sucrose made up 5 of the first 14 4-star characters in Genshin Impact, and all 5 of them have managed to not only be viable throughout the evolution of the game's meta, but even get stronger to the point where they eclipse even 5-stars in performance and usage.
Bro, it is ridiculous how powerful these 4-star characters are. Now, Sino is a really good character. Dehya, like, she hits like a sponge. Zhang Ling does more damage than Dehya, like, it's just no cap. But the main reason why that is because you can get constellations for 4-star characters much easier than 5-star ones, obviously, right? One constellation could cost you $200, like, what the fuck? Ooh, Mona. Xingqiu being better than Mona is a bit of a sticky one still. I'm obviously comparing them elemental wise, like elemental damage wise. Also, like Fischl is an off field DPS, is a main DPS. You know what I mean? Like there are differences. Zhang Ling is an off field damage dealer as well. However, she does a lot of damage as a main DPS as well. So I can understand why they can get Silver Shadow. Like I get his point, but it's tough making examples in Genshin, or it's tough to make like specific examples in Genshin where each character has such a different role that is made. Like, you know, Mona, she's mainly a damage boost. Like, she's a damage buffer. She doesn't deal damage, whereas Xingqiu is an off-field DPS. So, I get your point, but some of the roles don't match when it comes to the examples.
A good thing, as 4 stars are more accessible characters, the existence of these kind of units have led to problematic consequences for all 4 stars. And that's what we're going to talk about for this city.
That is so true.
Exceptions apply, of course, but in every gacha game, it's standard for the power budget of a character to be associated with their rarity. That is to say, 1-star units are expected to be significantly weaker or less versatile than a 5-star one. Genshin follows this code to a degree, but the difference in performance between a 5 and 4-star is a lot less measurable than in other games.
I actually wanted to say this, right? So the reason why Sucrose is part of the Power 5 is because if you do not have Kazuha, you will always use a Sucrose or a Venti. The thing about Venti is he doesn't stagger big enemies, whereas Sucrose does, right? So Sucrose will kind of like make big, like Mitachus, for example, she'll make them like flinch, whereas when Venti shoots, it doesn't really do that, or at least I don't think it does. I might be wrong. Comment, correct me down below if I'm right or wrong.
Happen to be 4 stars, and on the flip side, some of the worst units are 5 stars. That being said, there's still a visible difference in capability between the two rarities. More
I'm still pissed about fucking Dehya, bro.
Or more influential constellations, with the idea that the average 5-star is stronger than the average 4-star. I mean, I would hope so, given that it costs you upwards of $200 to get one. When a lower star character is highly sought after or is considered stronger than some other units, it's often due to their propensity to enable other characters using external elements to their advantage or occupying a niche that few, if any others, do. That's usually how they make 4 stars.
Bro, this is why I love like
certain conditions are met or for a certain party. 5 stars.
The elemental reactions in Genshin Impact actually make it work. Like that's the only reason why it works. Is the elemental applications. The reason why these characters have so much more value, even though the DPS might be lower, for example, Xingqiu having less DPS than Yellen, is because his kit works in a way where you can, pardon me, with a sacrificial sword, you can enable such clean rotations and you could have constant uptime on his ultimate, which means he can apply Hydro much more often, right? And you could actually make him do decent damage. And I know Yellen is like a really balanced, like a literal power creep from Xingqiu, but not only can you use them both together in the team and it works, Xingqiu is an easier character to use because it's easier to manage his energy recharge or his energy, whereas in Yellen, if you don't have her C1 or if you don't have like a specific weapon or enough energy regen, she will not be able to ult off cooldown because it's much more expensive than Xingqiu's, right?
Are intended to be more versatile and more practical in most situations, though.
Exactly.
Even so, the vast majority of 4
the versatility
and
the ease of use
by 5 stars for obvious reasons.
Nikkei, I want to unironically play this game, bro. I just feel like if I play this game on stream, I'm gonna get banned.
Although this is mostly endemic to old gacha games, whereas new ones are more generous with giving very powerful characters of a lower rating. Genshin was like this at first with the Power 5. These characters were intended to be viable if not excellent options for players who lacked the wherewithal to acquire the powerful yet prohibitively expensive 5 stars, making it so non-whales could still competitively keep up with the game's content. I'm sure by now everyone knows what all the rage is with them, but to briefly paraphrase what each unit can do, Bennett can increase the attack stat of the active party member by a staggering amount, effectively multiplying their DPS. In addition, he provides consistent AP regeneration up to a percentage cap and applies Pyro to them, cleansing them of all other element statuses like Cryo, Hydro, and Electro to name a few. He's the poster child of a one-button character. Xingqiu provides a myriad of offensive and defensive buffs to the active character. Offensively, he can follow up on their normal attacks with a flurry of Hydro Swords, which do very solid damage on their own, but can allow for one-person Hydro reactions and the implications that come with them. Defensively, he offers damage reduction, a token amount of healing, and stagger resistance.
Stagger resistance as well with his shield.
Off-field damage output out of any 4-star character known to
Yes, especially C6.
Like Bennett, she's sort of a one-button character, creating a spinning blade of fire that
No, bro. One-button character. Are you crazy? Okay, this is wrong, bro. This is wrong. Listen, do not underestimate the fucking damage Goba provides when you build jungling properly. Goba does so much damage especially when he vapes, when you run her with like Xingqiu or somebody, it is ridiculous, right? Do not forget to use your go bar, especially collect the chili after he disappears for extra damage. Bro, like her whole kit is disgusting. And, right, you're not supposed to C6 Benny, but if you C6 your Benny, you could make her a main DPS, because when you ult with Benny, he imbues anybody that's Polearm, Sword, and Claymore with pyro damage. So not only does he increase your attack, you are invincible in Benny's ultimate, but when you deal normal attacks with Zhang Ling, she does fucking disgusting damage with just her normal attacks. And you know her normal attack kit, where she just constantly stabs people. Bro, crazy damage, bro. Don't underestimate boy, if you don't...
long time, damaging all nearby enemies.
Don't
what
do
makes
that,
it
bro.
so powerful is that all buffs applied to her upon casting her ultimate remain in effect even after the duration elapses, a term the Genshin community has coined snapshotting. Sucrose is equipped with less straightforward yet equally powerful supportive tools in the form of power control, resistance shred provided you have a certain artifact set, and elemental reaction support. She can increase the elemental mastery and damage of her entire party while providing a steady stream of area control and swirling, making her optimal for teams that rely heavily on coverage and reaction DPS. Official takes what Sucrose does.
Yeah, Sucrose basically, like, not only has she got insane crowd control, especially if you got the Sakrag on her, also... Bro, I've been coughing for like a week now. It pisses me off. But yeah, especially like her elemental mastery boost when you have extra constellations, and just the constant particles she produces, constant swells, obviously shred with Vivi, disgusting.
To all your electro-related needs. She has, by leaps and bounds, the highest electro application in the game by virtue of elemental skill, which can be extended via her burst. Outside of her seamless driving, she also has very respectable damage due to her constant uptime, all while being off-field. While each member of the Power 5 excels in their own criteria, there are two shared characteristics that lend credence to their effectiveness. The first is that none of them have to be the active character to use their skills. Conservation of field time is a huge factor when determining the strength of a character, despite being able to rapidly swap between...
Look, 3 of them. There's 3 of them on this team. And you have Raiden. This is basically the national team, right? Yeah, this is Raiden national. Like, yeah, you got 3 of those characters in this team, and then Raiden with a crazy, not only not only on-field DPS, but also energy regen particles, which means they will ult even more often, and also like her off-field as well. Like whenever she attacks, she does the slice. So yeah, everything just works in that team. That's why it's so disgusting.
Since only one unit can be present at a time, occupying less field time reflects better on the unit's performance, as it lowers the chance of them depriving it from others, thus making them more versatile in team comps. Secondly, all of them have fairly universal niches. As mentioned earlier, 4-star characters are generally only good in specific scenarios, while 5 stars tend to be more versatile. However, if that scenario just so happens to frequently occur, then that ironically makes them very universal. For instance, Bennett provides a staggered...
Well, sorry, I'm gonna stop a lot. Like, I feel like you can make the argument for both. Like, I know that Albedo, like, for example, Albedo is a very versatile unit. Don't get me wrong. You could pretty much, like, Albedo is just free DPS. You could slap him anywhere in any team, and he just works because it's, like, off-field DPS. But I only use him for a main, like, for a mono Geo team, because that's the only team that he slots in without actually providing more damage than not, right? Like, there are 5-star units that are just, that only work in specific team comps. Shenhe is the main example. She only buffs cryo damage, so she will only work with literally like 2 or 3 units in the game. Now Risley coming in, but then also Ayaya, you got Ganyu. Literally only cryo DPSs work with Shenhe, and that's a 5-star character, right? So yeah, there are exceptions. Deca just doesn't work anywhere, bro. That's so sad, bro. Chi-Chi? Oh, no, dude. But I get what you mean. Zhao, he only works with like one specific team comp. Now a bit more than that with Furin, not Furina, what's her name? It's not Furina, I forgot her name. But the one that boosts animal damage, that also works with Wanderer, works with Zhao now as well. But Zhao only like works in a specific team comp of like Zhongli and stuff like that, with like off-field attack boosts. Yeah, like Looney is versatile, but he best shines in mono pyro teams. So I get what he means, but like it works for both. Not only 5 stars. Like both 4 stars and 5 stars have specific characters that work in like just 1 or 2 team comps, and then there are obviously 4-star and 5-star characters that work anywhere.
Bring attack boost to the active character. Because of the one person at a time system Genshin's combat has, most if not all teams are built around 3 supports and the main damage dealer, making Bennett an ideal choice for many teams, since all of them will have a carry unit who very much would like to have more attack. Another one would
Yep.
be Xingqiu, widely considered the best 4-star in the game. The way he deals damage and applies Hydro, coupled with the small bits of utility he brings, makes him your best choice for all teams that even remotely make
100%.
use of reactions associated with Hydro. And with every character
100%.
using normal
Like-
attacks to some degree, it's a very
Like, look how many teams. Look how good Hydro is in Genshin, bro. Look, you've got, right. Like I said before, you've got your Vaporize teams, you've got your Taser teams, right. Well, there's two. Why is that two? Oh, I think that meaning they both working together. Oh yeah, obviously your Bloom. Oh, that's Hyper Bloom. Yep. So you got your Vaporize teams, your Tasers, your Blooms, your Freezes, your Hyper Blooms, and then your Swells. Like, just it's so fucking overpowered. I was talking about this with Novelet and why Hydro characters are just really, really strong, right? But not only that, he provides off-field damage and on-field damage and off-field damage, right? With his skill and his ultimate, right? And then he's giving you a shield, a Hydro shield. Like, it's not a big one, but it's a Hydro shield that, if you're not hit, will heal your character and give you stagger resistance. So it's like, imagine him doing so much DPS. Like, this character, I choose him over a 5-star Yellen sometimes. Because Yellen does more damage, but this guy, he's got more versatility in his kit. He's got more stuff he provides. And he's easier to use.
To exploit his burst. These
It's
two
so
factors
crazy.
have not only allowed them to find a lot of use cases, but also enabled them to be some of Genshin's best characters despite only being 4-stars.
Yep,
Without fail,
100%.
they've perennially been some of the game's most popular even as more and more units came out, attesting to their ease of use and versatility. But this also has resulted in a situation that has been called into question by a lot of people. Maybe not in this specific way, but 4-stars in Genshin have been a hot topic for debate across all discussion platforms. There are a number of issues with the group, but the biggest one in my opinion is that 4-stars have been trapped in a catch-22 situation from the very beginning of Genshin, and it's all because of the Power 5. Genshin's gameplay is very
Do you guys remember Layla? Yeah, me neither.
simple, enough to where most of the game's content can be completed with any assortment of characters or teams. Other games may impose restrictions or challenges that explicitly mandate you to use a certain type of character or strategy, but Genshin isn't as uncompromising about it. So, on one hand, this affords the player with a ton of freedom in what parties they want to use, but on the other, it means that all characters are essentially competing with one another for usage, seeing as you can only ever use 4 at a time or 8 for Spiral Abyss. All that is to say, Genshin's elements and especially weapon types are mostly nominal. It's true that some enemies are better handled with pyro damage than cryo, but there are no hard rules that set apart one element from another. For example, in
that is
Spiral,
true.
you can only inflict weakness break on an enemy with elemental attacks corresponding to the ones displayed above their toughness meter, as opposed to Genshin where, barring immunities, any element can damage a shield, it's just that some do it better than others. Likewise, there are no vulnerabilities.
So like there is like, there we go, that's a good chart. So there is immunities. Obviously, if there's a Hydro shield, using Hydro just doesn't fucking work, right? It just makes sense. But look at this cheat sheet. So basically, like, Cryo and Dendro is just OP against Hydro, right? Dendro being actually better because of Bloom. Like, the Bloom explosions just destroy Hydro shields. You got Electro and Hydro that's really good against Pyro, right? But like, literally, it doesn't mean that these two are the best, but it doesn't mean these two, like, other elements can't do it. You can use Fire against Hydro, and although it will be really minimal, it will do its damage. You can use a Claymore character, right? People don't even say this. Like, yes, Geo is also good. Geo for blunt damage. It also, like, Geo also kind of shreds it a little bit. But Claymore characters, just normal attacks also shred. Like, physical damage also shreds shields. Like, you can cleave it down. It's just you don't do it as fast, which is where Spell of Abyss is kind of difficult sometimes, because you've got, like, you know, you've got the heralds, which means you really need a specific element to shred it faster, because that's what the whole mechanic and schmick is, right?
Than others. Likewise, there are no vulnerabilities or resistances to weapon types as of right now. A claymore is no different from a polearm, which is no different from a sword. 4-stars are made viable by the niche they fulfill, and if that niche coincidentally happens to be in high demand, then the character becomes good or at least worth investing into. But since Genshin's combat doesn't have the same level of complexity as other action RPGs, even if those niches exist, there's seldom a situation where there aren't other options available to the player. In other words, 4-stars have to directly compete with 5-stars more often than not. Sad as it may sound, 4-star main DPS units can't and will never be stronger than 5-stars. There is no reality where
Chongyun, unironically, I actually use Chongyun sometimes, but I use him as I use him in a melt team comp, and it's like, he's my main DPS in a melt team comp, but he's not the one that does the most damage, which is hilarious. He's just like he's my main on-field unit, but he doesn't work. Whereas you've got you've got Kava and then Xinyan. Oh my god, Xinyan got put to sleep. Funnily enough, I actually done Abyss with Xinyan. Like I actually made her work, but she just is nowhere near as good as other units,
where
man.
Nei, Kave, Yanfei, Ningguang, and Razor's damage ceilings can compete against Alhaitham, Neverlet, Gutao, Ayaka, and Linnis. If they did, it would go against the convention of 5-stars being
it's not even close, dude. It's not even close.
Since 4-star DPSers have been screwed 6 ways to Sunday, only supports and sub-DPSers, also known as off-field units, have been able to find widespread use. Once again, 5-star supports and off-fielders possess an inherent advantage due to their rarity, but 4-star off-fielders can circumvent having to directly compete with them as a result of there being 3 party slots available instead of just 1, letting them coexist more easily than main DPSers can. The problem is, 4-star off-fielders don't just have to deal with 5-star off-fielders, they also have to deal with the power 5. Let's use Candace as an example. Even though she has one of the most beautiful character designs and a pretty unique playstyle to go along with it,
I forgot about this
Hydra
character.
Traveler, she was one of the worst Hydra units in the game, if not the absolute worst. Not necessarily because she had no place in the meta, she was
I don't
easily useful in
even
blue
know.
teams, but she struggles to gain attention as a result of there being so many better units who can do that.
I don't even
Kokomi
know
and Yelan stand
what
as
the
5-star
Hydra MC
frontrunners
does.
of Hydra at the moment, and even if you look past that, she then has to compete with Xingqiu, who can achieve far more practical results than she ever could. Other supports were directly in line with the
only reason why Kokomi is so good is because she's also a healer. So like, for example, if you had to choose between a Xingqiu and a Kokomi for Hydra applications, you would firstly ask yourself whether you already have a healer or not in your team. If you don't have a healer, for example, for this team, Kokomi is the best answer. Like, Kokomi is the answer for here. Because you will get hit mostly, especially when you're doing Abyss. So you need to heal yourself. And although you know Xingqiu has that little bit of healing and a shield and stagger resistance, it's merely not enough, for example, when you just get completely destroyed by like a group of enemies, right? So you need that heal. So having this Hyper Bloom team, you would definitely choose Kokomi over Xingqiu. And the only reason why is literally because she's a healer. She does a lot of healing.
The power 5.
And her Hydra applications are also very good, right? Of course.
Also face this challenge. Animal
but also, let's not forget that Kokomi, what's a 4-star equivalent of Kokomi? It's a Barbara. So like, again, like this is his point, circling back to 5 stars over 4 stars. So if you need a heal, you would choose a Barbara, you would choose a Barbara. I'm memeing too much in Genshin. I always call her Barbara because I like calling people wrong names on purpose to piss people off. But yeah, so you would choose Xingqiu over Barbara, but because he's got Kokomi, he will choose Kokomi over Barbara, which is his argument why 4 stars just got a really tough time being in the meta.
Will not only have to compete with Kazuha and Venti's chokehold over the roster, but
Sucrose
has extensive coverage as well. If a Pyro unit has any hope of shining as a support, they need to, somehow, get past the Great Wall of Bennett and Shanling. The Pyro does such a good job at covering
can you imagine, bro?
Functions that it basically prevents any new 4-star units from ever finding comparable usage.
It's just no way.
At this point,
you would have to make them overpowered.
What about Dendro, Geo, or Cryo? Those aren't covered by the Power 5. Others might call to attention that not everyone has all the 5-star characters, so instead of Kokomi and Yelan, they might do Xingqiu and Candace, or instead of Shogun and Miko, they might do Fischl and Shinobu. Let's address one at a time. Starting with the fact that not everyone has every character, that's a very
literally what I just said.
I'm not assuming all players are Giga Whales who pull for every 5-star. However, if you've been playing for a fair bit of time, all members of the Power 5 were made freely obtainable at one point or another.
Bro, if you don't like Zhang Ling, you get for free by doing Abyss. Like easy clap, right? Bennett, Zhangling, Xingqiu, Sucrose, they're always on the banners. Every single, like they're constantly on the banners. And if they're not on the banners, they're in the shop to exchange. And if you don't have a copy of these, I would much rather you exchange. I would much rather you use your star glitters on these characters if you don't have a copy, rather than save for like extra 6 pulls on the on a banner, right? It is just much more worth getting a copy of these and securing these characters from the shop, rather than just, you know, use them to get random pulls.
Recently, everyone had access to a free Bennett with the flagship event of 4.0, so I think I can...
Wait, 4.0. Oh, he made this video, so he made this video like a couple of months ago. Okay, bet. You got a free Bennett when you played at the beginning of Fontaine. This is what I mean, bro. Like, literally, oh, you started this game, Fontaine brought you back to this game, and you don't have a Bennett. Here you go, the most overpowered character in the fucking game, bro.
You can at least act under the assumption that 95% of you guys have them and are not using Candace because you don't have Xingqiu. As to the non-pyro, hydro, electro, and animal elements, let's all re-establish for the 100th time that Geo is trash. Goro and Yunshin are good characters with a bad element, naturally making them unpopular. Dendro is probably the only one exempt from this, as Yao Yao, Kirara, and...
Yeah, but Yunjin can be used in a rainbow team. He's actually very good with a Yoimiya rainbow. And Garu is only there because Ito exists. Let's not lie about that. Garu, if you have a Garu, Guro, he's useless unless you've got an Ito team. If you've got an Ito and you made the Mono Geo team, that's where Garu Albedo shines with, you know, Zhongli or Benny, whichever you prefer.
Dendro Traveler are pretty good all things considered. Then again, Dendro wasn't even out.
I actually built Kirara and I never used her.
Cryo is pretty much the only element that gets away with this. Diona, Layla, Rosaria, and Kaya all hang around the same relative ballpark.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
It's not just the elemental aspect of the Power 5 that led to Catch-22 for 4 stars. It's the benchmark they put in place from the very start of the game. Bennett, Xingqiu, Fischl, Sucrose, and Shanling may only cover 4 of the 7 elements on paper, but in practice, they cover everything. There are no niches or edge cases where a dungeon or boss is resistant to every possible thing they can do, essentially giving you little pragmatic reason to use any of the other 4-star characters outside of wanting to use them for your own personal enjoyment. They are so powerful,
that's 100%
so
true.
efficient, and so easy to use that it sets an almost impossible standard for everyone else to achieve. If MiHoYo makes 4-star units on the same strength as the Power 5, it indirectly diminishes the value of 5 stars, since the Power 5 are among the best in the game. But if they don't make 4 stars as strong as them, they're forever going to be inferior to them, thus making them look bad because of the overinflated expectations the Power 5 imposes. A small number of units have managed to break past that Catch-22, but only barely so. Shinobu, Beidou, Farusan, and Goro. Again, Dendro is exempt because Dendro didn't exist back then. I mean, if we're being completely honest, Goro is basically Power 5 material. Do you see the stuff on this guy? The only reason he's not broken is because he's Geo. Shinobu is only
that
good
is so
thanks
true.
to the increase.
Like his kit, he provides so much, right? He provides so much. But because he is a Geo character, he only works like Geo. Okay, Animal works because of swell with every other element. So if you need a swell, which obviously decreases the resistance of a specific element to the enemy, which is a direct damage boost, right? This is why swell is like really popular. This is why Animal is really popular. But because Geo doesn't have elemental reactions, it only has crystallize, and it has been made to work against other Geo structures. Like, that element is very situational. Zhongli is the only exception because Zhongli's shield is the most OP thing in the game and you don't have to worry about mechanics when you have a Zhongli, right? But, well, unless it's Wolves. The Wolves directly counter Zhongli unless you've got him C6. But, like, the only time I would use a Mono Geo team is when the Wolf Lord comes back to the Spiral of Abyss again. Like, it is a very niche element that works only against enemies that have a Geo shield on them. So, for example, if in the future a Geo Herald comes through, then you would most definitely use a Geo team, right? But, there is a big but, okay? Do not forget about Overload. Constantly triggering Overload reactions and explosions with Pyro and Electro shreds Geo shields as well. And Claymore characters shred Geo shield as well. So Geo is not the only thing that that directly counters Geo shields, right? So literally a very niche and cliche thing. Like last time I used a Geo team was literally for the Wolf Lord. And that's only because Geo just completely destroys the pillars that the Wolf Lord has, so then you could dish out damage and stun him, right? Like it is very sad, but it is true. Like, and don't get me wrong, I love Ito, man. Ito is such a cool character. He's one of the funnest characters to use. Completely dynamic, very good damage, just fun to use overall. Destroys everything. But his damage and his rotation isn't nowhere near fast enough than a Hyper Bloom or a Rider national team. It's just so true.
Demand for multitasking.
It just is what it is, right?
Teams. She's basically carried by Dendro.
I use it when I want to have fun.
Venti and Sucrose by going into Animal Hyper Carry, which in and of itself is very niche, and even
yeah,
then, practically
very niche.
Sucrose can go into so many other comps.
I actually got her name right last time. I'm impressed.
In a way, the Power 5 are basically 5 stars under the guise of 4 stars. They have the same strength and versatility as top tier 5 stars while having the accessibility of 4 stars. Their coverage is so vast that they basically have a monopoly over the 4-star market, especially in their respective elements, and even for the elements and niches they don't
like,
cover,
look at this.
Those niches.
Did you just see that? That's a weekly boss, guys. Just a quick reminder. Just to let you guys know what just happened there. This is a weekly boss. She's got 3 different stages, and she turns into a big fucking Mechazoid fucking Evangelion some bullshit or like
tier 5
stands
stars while
bullshit.
having the accessibility of 4 stars. Their coverage is so vast that
Look.
they basically have a monopoly over the 4-star market, especially in their
Oh, but he's
respective
got
elements.
okay, dude. But he's got like a C6. Okay, listen. I said he's got like at least a C1 or is it a C1? I don't know which constellation from Ayaya spreads the ultimate out into 3 mini vortexes, right? But that's not a C0 Ayaya. This is a really well invested Ayaya. And look at this. This is a 4-star character, guys. This is a fucking 4-star character. Are you seeing this? This is a melt. This is one melt, one spin from the tornado, and this tornado spins for like fucking 15 minutes, bro.
And even for the elements and niches,
and it does it again. Every time this rotates, 250, 250. See what I mean? And listen, guys, I just done a video yesterday talking about the Honkai Star Rail and Genshin thing, right? Where the guy said that Genshin doesn't really have power creep. Does power creep really well. Look at this. This is the proof right there.
However, those niches are not efficient enough to be popular
Jesus
or are only
Christ,
there out of
bro.
necessity. That out of the however many dozens of 4-star units we had since version 1.0, only like 6 or 7 are even usable, not even
Double
good,
S,
usable.
double S.
Shows how influential Fischl, Sukos, Xingqiu, Xiangling, and Bennett were. It would be one thing if Bennett or Xiangling came out in version 4, but the fact that they came out on day 1 made it so every new 5-star that isn't at minimum 80% as strong as them appears complete garbage. Even those
Like
at a
useless.
specific niche can feel worse to play because they don't produce the
So
same
sad.
eye-popping numbers and stuff that the Power 5 has. 4 stars are just in a really tough spot at the moment. On top of being just as expensive to gear up as 5 stars in terms of materials and whatnot, and on top of them implicitly requiring max constellation just to be usable, they also have to compete
Yeah.
against a standard that can't even be met, because if they did, it would totally break the game's balance and our perceptions of 4 and 5 stars altogether. See, the thing is, I can't even call it an exclusively bad thing. It's awesome that we can have very powerful teams with units accessible to everyone. The Power 5
True.
makes it so free-to-play players can still complete even the hardest content in the game. It also
Yeah,
makes
and
it
that's
so
what
you
I
can
said,
vote for
Hoyoverse
whoever you
does
want,
that.
even if they're not that good, and those units can let you get away with it. Yet at the same time, that comes with the sacrifice
That's
that
a
making
sucrose
virtually
swell.
every 4-star
Did
unit
you just
look
see
so
that
much worse
damage?
in comparison. I feel like the only way miHoYo can fix
That was
this
also a
is
weekly
by
boss,
biting
by
the
the way.
bullet and making more characters like the Power 5. Units like Dori, Mika, Xinyan, Sayu, Candice, Remine, they just feel so disappointing even though they have really
Wait, let's have a look at this.
Remine, they just
Wait, I built Candice for a team and then she was really underwhelming. Like I actually wanted to beat Abyss with Candice and she just didn't work. She wasn't good enough. Remine I haven't even built. I don't know if I even got him.
miHoYo can fix this is by biting the bullet and making more characters like the Power 5. Units like Dori, Mika, Xinyan,
Dori I haven't even built. Mika I haven't even built. Sayu I don't think I've built. Xinyan I actually done Abyss with Xinyan. She's a fun unit to use for ult spamming and stuff like that. But I built her in a really niche way as well. Like not the way she was supposed to. I built her in a completely different way just to have fun because I was bored. Like back when, you know, she first came out and I built her. But yeah, like he's completely right. These characters I never use. Like I never use apart from Xinyan.
Sayu, Candice, Remine,
There's no reason to.
so disappointing.
There is
even though
no
they have
reason
really
to.
colorful and
Unless
interesting
you're really bored
playstyles.
and you want to
But
upgrade every
anyways,
character in
that's
the
not all I
game.
have to say for today. If you have any solutions on how to solve this dilemma, feel free to share in the comments down below. For now though, if you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate it if you left this video a like and subscribed. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at VarsFam, join my Discord server, and check out my other discussion videos if you haven't yet. Until next time.
What happened to Tartaglia? I need to run Abyss with Tartaglia again, man. I need to watch more of his videos. He does some really good stuff. Are these units still good? Damn, why everyone plays Kokomi?
Thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care.
I need to watch these videos, man. Dude, he makes amazing content, bro. What the hell? Look at this damage, bro. Look at this damage, bro. No, amazing, man. Definitely subscribing and liking this video. Guys, check him out, okay? Vars. It's Vars 2? Wait, does that mean he's got Vars 1? Damn, bro, that's crazy. Anyway, yo, amazing video, right? I'm just gonna do one more thing before I sign out from this video, right? And I'm very intrigued about this, right? So he's talking about the Power 5. Let's have a look. I've got my party setups here, right? Let's go, but let's flip into the PlayStation scene, right? Let's have a look. I've got as many team comps as I possibly can, right? As many team comps as I possibly can. Let's have a look at this. This is my exploration team. This is my overworld team. Let's see. We got Fischl and Bennett from the Power 5 in this team. Yellen over Xingqiu, mainly because Yelen's got that, it's for exploration. So Sasori or Wanderer is there because he can fly, and Yelen's there because she's got that skill that runs faster. So this is literally like movement and damage, right? Ayaya, Mona, Shenhe, and Jean. Very niche and a cryo DPS team, right? This is mainly structured around Ayaya. Mona for the damage boost and the constant hydro applications to freeze enemies to give, Ayaya the crit rate. Shenhe for the cryo damage boost. And then Jean for the VV shred and the the swirls and the heals, of course, right? So there is no power 5s in this team. However, if I didn't have a Mona, Xingqiu would be there, right? It just is what it is. Raiden National, 1, Zhangling, Yelen, and Bennett. So 2 out of the 3. Xingqiu would be here over Yelen if Raiden didn't have any energy regeneration boosts, which means that my Yelen can actually ult off cooldown. If Raiden was not in his team, and I had, like, for example, a Kazuha, then it would be Xingqiu because of energy resource, right? So there would have been 3 out of 5, but for now it's 2 out of 5. There we go. Xingqiu is here for Famalam Hyper Bloom. Xingqiu, Naki, Cookie. That's like the only team I ever use Cookie in, so she's very niche. Naki overpowered, right? Famalam DPS, that's fine. Ito, there we go. My mono Ito team. Look, Garu's here. His kit is amazing. He does such a good job, but his Geo, which, like it said in the video, very like they just kind of nerfed him there, right? But look, Albedo, Garu is here. That's the only team I use them for, to boost Ito's damage, and Zhongli as well, right? Zhongli for the mono Geo for survivability and just stagger resistance, right? Novelet, wait, what? Novelet Rosta. So Novelet, this is one of Novelet's teams. Again, Zhangling, Benny's here, Venti, and Novelet. This is a really fun team. I would pretty much swap this out for any, like, Venti is a float there. I would switch him out for Xingqiu. I could switch him out for, like, pretty much anybody. Sucrose as well for the swells, just whatever, right? There's so many team comps you can make with Novelet. That's whatever. This would be my Liney Mono Pyro team, but I use this as my Fontaine Exploration team because Looney, his passive is they could find local specialties. Novelet, he makes her swimming faster. Lynette, just to pair her up with Looney and to use a new character. And then Benny, one of the power 5, best support in the game, right? Hutao Vape team, there we go. Xingqiu Bennett's there. Easy. 4-star All-Stars. Would you look at that? This is a team that I used since the beginning of Genshin to beat Spiral of Abyss. This was one of my first teams I used. This, and then the second team that I used was a Zhao team, because Zhao was one of my first, or one of my best 5-star units. So I used this team to completely dumpster anything, and then the second team for Zhao because they just, like, Zhao's team kind of doesn't need any of these characters apart from Benny, but I used Diona, Noblesse Diona instead of Benny, and it still worked. But yes, look, 4 out of the 5 power 5. Disgusting team. They literally work as a team in and of itself, with Zhangling being the main DPS. And then the last team is a Sino Aggravate team, with Fischl being there, one of the power 5s. So as you can see, literally pretty much all of the teams would have one of those characters in there. And how many 4-stars exist in this game? Loads, right? Loads of 4-stars in this game. Like, there's a crazy amount. But you just don't use them because of how powerful these guys are. It's disgusting. It is ridiculous. Anyway, point proven. Thank you so much for watching the video, and go subscribe to the guy. It was an amazing video. Trust me to make a 14-minute reaction video into a 40-minute video. Oh my god, bro. I'm just so bad at making things concise, aren't I? Anyway, like and subscribe, and thank you for watching. I'll see you guys later. Take care. Bye bye.